All right, so I am making this video for the second time. First time I was trying to make the video, but then I had changed my computer, so all my uh, movie making softwares were kind of gone, and then I couldn't locate them. So finally, I found my softwares, loaded them, and got all the images and everything. So here I am. So this is all about wood pellet stove, but in general about enjoyment that you receive at the ambience of heat as well as ambience for a wood burning stove, whether it is pure wood logs or wood pellet. I'm not going to go into so much of detail of merit of wood log burning versus wood pellet, accepting that my decision was more focused around that in wood log burning, you do have lot of cleaning to do, as well as there is quite a lot of expenses in terms of actually setting up the chimney and all that, as opposed to wood pellet where there is literally zero ash, there is zero chances of any carbon monoxide poisoning, and the installation is pretty easy. The fire, of course, is different compared to wood log, but nevertheless, it is the it is the sensation, it is the ambience, it's the feeling of the heat coming from wood burning that is exciting. So finally, I decided to order the wood pellet stove. Of course, one of the main concern that I had was, how I'm going to get the wood pellet stove inside the house, because all the delivery options that various factors had, they were all curbside delivery. So, I was looking for various information on the internet, but I couldn't find it. So I thought I will actually put some dimensions out here so that you know that, yeah, if they deliver it on the curbside delivery, it's not that bad. The unit weighs about 200 pounds, and it's about 22 inches by 23 inches and 40-inch tall. So if you have a dolly, with the help of a dolly, you can very easily move it around from curb to inside your house. Of course, in my case, the guy who delivered the unit was very nice, and he just brought it inside the uh, in my house. So not a problem at all. The unit came very well packed. It had about 1 inch cardboard all around, and there was a base to which the whole unit was bolted on, and all the parts and everything came inside pretty nicely wrapped up. So no complaints, nothing was damaged during the shipment. I had also ordered uh, the exhaust kit, you know, for installation. I was looking for inlet outside air kit, but there isn't any available on the internet, which is good. So, I had to improvise, and I'm going to talk about that in just a while. So first part of the installation was to create the heat pad. Now there are a lot of heat pads available on the market, but most of them are kind of mixed material with steel blend on top and some heat resistance material at the end. And I didn't like those because they get pretty easily scratched, and it is difficult to move the unit once it is atop the heat pad. And since I was doing it alone, I needed a surface which was heat resistant and easy to move around the unit if I needed to. So I used the granite tiles, and uh, you know had a wood board under the tile, and then hot glued the granite tiles onto it, and then marked out the studs in the wall where the holes would go through, or rather avoiding the studs to make sure that holes go through, and then position the unit vertically in front of it, and then mark the holes for cutting, moving the unit back. And once the holes were cut, then you assemble the pipe and just push the unit in front to get the pipes hooked on to your unit. The installation itself is pretty simple. Of course, I was expecting that for a 3-inch exhaust pipe, maybe 4-inch wide hole for thimble, but to my surprise, when the thimble came, it was a 7-inch wide hole, and that kind of threw my plans out of the window. First of all, they don't make a hole saw which is 7-inch in diameter. Biggest that they make is 4-inch or so. So if you want to go for a 7-inch hole saw, it would have been a prohibitively expensive uh, option. So then I got Dremel tools, and then using the Dremel tool and slow and steady, I was able to cut through the inner wall. But before cutting through the inner wall, I had made the pilot hole, making sure that I drill a pilot hole through and through both sides of the wall. I had to use about 6-inch long drill bit to get the centered hole, so that once I'm cutting the wall from outside, I know exactly where the center is. So using that and then aligning the thimbles on both sides, make sure that alignment was perfect. And once this was done, cutting the a small hole for inlet air was easy, because first of all, inlet air can use flexible tube. It does not have to be type V bent, uh, and uh, the only thing is that you cannot use a PVC pipe because it needs to be metal to prevent the backdraft dangers that may happen in case power goes out. So once it was done, it was pretty easy. And as per manufacturers, you could use the auto exhaust pipe as the inlet pipe. So that's what I did. I got a 2.25-inch auto exhaust pipe bent at around 45 degrees, because you need to have the outlet with the bent down for both exhaust as well as inlet. And then I connected a 2.5-inch connector, and then connected a flexible metal tubing to uh, the connector and the unit. So it is allowed, as long as it is not a PVC tube. It is allowed, because in the event of power failure, there could be a backdraft situation, and inlet pipe can actually act as an exhaust pipe. So to that extent, you need to use metal pipe, and that's what I did. So once inside was done, outside fitting was pretty easy. They are all twist and lock fittings, so not a problem at all. That whole thing took just about 5 minutes. The sealant and the cutting of the thimble took a little bit of a time, but here you can see from side view that the chimney that is sticking out, which is just about 3 feet. Here is the view from in the back of the house. You could hardly see the chimney, because we are at 600 feet level. We don't need a big chimney. This is the front view, very low profile. The steel is merging well with the color of our aluminum siding, so not a sober eye piece. And this is a close up of how the whole fitting came in. So you seal the joints with the heat resistant sealant, and as an extra precaution, after sealing it with the heat resistant sealant, I also did the aluminum taping all around the sealant, so there is literally no chance of water seeping in. And of course, I anchored the pipe with the anchors that came with the kit. So overall, not looking bad. This is the approach to the house. You cannot even see the chimney, so very non-intrusive kind of a setup, and certainly very enjoyable doing it as a DIY project. And here's Rosie, really enjoying the fireplace. And of course, she was all curious, what is Daddy doing? So, well, once she got it operational, she really loved it. Okay, so you got the whole thing installed, all the exhaust and everything is sealed. You got your permit done, you got your inspections done. Then this is the exciting part. You load it up with the pallets. Okay, and this Serenity actually takes exactly 40 pounds in one filling. So one full bag goes in there. But of course, for refills, it is generally not possible to get it totally empty. So you will always have a small bag that you will need to refill. And then all you do is fire up the furnace. And there are various settings out here. um, I'm using the default settings here, and number two, the heat setting number two. For exhaust and blower settings, I'm using default settings here. So once you switch on the furnace, then it creates a vacuum, and you can see that from icons here. The V icon is that it's creating a vacuum in there to make sure that smoke doesn't go out. And once the vacuum is created, it will start to drop the pellets for 30 seconds and then initiate the ignition. So let's wait. So I don't know if you can hear it or not. The pellets are not dropping for 30 seconds. It will fill the burn pot, which is about 4 inches by 1.5 inch, and then the igniter will become hot. There is no flame in the igniter. There is just super hot element that blows super hot air, and then when air temperature is about 400 degree, the wood pellet actually ignite. So while we are waiting for the ignition to happen, couple of other things that I would like to provide a perspective on. That if you are having a wood pellet or wood stove furnace installed, definitely invest in ash vacuum. Ash vacuums are different than your normal household vacuums. So I have purchased Power Smith ash vacuum, and you will actually thank yourself for investing in ash vacuums. The cleaning of furnace becomes a breeze, um, almost like 2 minutes, and you clean the furnace from inside out. And second thing that you should invest in is a carbon monoxide monitor if you don't already have it. Even though this unit virtually gives out zero carbon monoxide because whole thing is sealed, nevertheless worth investing. And now you can see the smokes are coming out because the temperature is reaching to a ignition point, and very shortly now you see ignition has happened. And at this point in time, the normal feed rate will resume based on your heat setting. This is almost the full flame. And the flame keeps on changing, and that's the beauty of it. Sometimes it goes high, sometimes it goes low, depending on the wood pellets inside the burn pot. And this is the best part of having a pellet stove or a wood stove. You don't get that ambience in either electric heating or propane heating. So this is actually the part that I bought the furnace for, not so much as the main heating source. This I'm using as a supplemental heating source. but this is what I enjoy after my hard day's work at office. I hope you enjoy too. Okay, so we are taking the temperature measurements today, and right now it's 15 degrees Fahrenheit outside with the real feel of about 1 degree. So let's take the measure. This is our intake here, and I am using my laser gun to see the temperature. And it is 26 degrees. So you can see it is 26 degrees at the intake. Now let's look at the temperature at outlet. And sun is bright, so you will not be able to see it. So let me stop. And outside temperature is 173 here. And the temperature at exhaust point out here is 33. And just by way of information, the exhaust pipe has a heat exchanger inside, which I'll go and show you. That is pulling out the heat, and the temperature inside is 80 degrees. So because of the wind chill and the external temperature, the temperature at this section is less, but as heats build up, you are getting a maximum of 173 at the exhaust. Let's see if I can measure the temperature inside the thimble, which probably I can't. Yeah, it is too close. It's 61 degrees, and temperature here is 56 degrees. All right, let's go inside and see what the temperature readings are. Okay, so here this one is the exhaust and that is the intake. So if I take the temperature of intake, that's about 70 degrees here, 69. And if I take the temperature of exhaust here, that's 79 here, and that's what I was saying, it's about 80. And this is all because of one little small fan out here. Okay, this is just a 5-watt fan, and if I switch this fan off, then temperature goes up pretty fast. So let me switch it off, and temperature normalizes, and then we'll take the reading again. So now let's look at the top. So top temperature is about 103, and it is actually cold to touch. That is because in this furnace you have just a steel compartment inside, and everything is sealed. So this is where the hot air is coming out. So let's check the temperature of hot air inside, and there are fins inside. And I'm reading about 280, 290, 300, about 340, 360, 380, 90. So somewhere around 350 to 400 degree temperature, depending on which area you are. This is the top surface. This is where we get the highest reading. of about 400. Yeah, that is the highest, 400 degrees. And this is actually inside the furnace, so the temperature that I'll be measuring is at the glass right at the furnace. And this is 235 degrees, and that is because I have this exhaust here. Just I'm experimenting how much heat is dissipated because of this simple blower. Even though there is a blower on top here, this is additional blower to dissipate the heat in the room rather than just being concentrated on this side. So also let's check the temperature on the sides, which should be pretty high. And it is about 315, 320 degrees, 325 here. This is with the blower on this side. So now let's check on where the blower is directly blowing, and it is about 200 degrees. So almost 200 degrees of heat dissipation because of this blower, and that heat is going directly in the room, because if I don't use this blower, then it's all going to go up, and that's going to be of no good. So let me switch off the blower here and let it reach to the normal temperature, and then we'll take the readings again. And in the meantime, let me take you to a standard gas and see what is the exhaust temperatures or flame temperature in our cooking range. Okay, so the first one is the 30,000 BTU flame. So if I look at the flame temperature here, it's about 450 degrees, and let it burn, so let it stabilize. And this one is actually this one is just about 18,000 BTU. So let's see what the temperature here is. About the same temperature. So the difference in BTUs actually just merely means how much heat it is pumping out. Obviously this is pumping out more heat, so the surface is going to get more hot. The film temperature is probably going to be constant, and as you see, I'm seeing now the surface temperature is increasing. So pretty comparable in terms of output, because the Serenity heater also is rated at 30,000 BTU. So now it has been off for few minutes, and temperature is obviously now hitting 370, 365. So definitely this is helping. And on this side, it's not going much because outside temperature must be really cold today. And the top temperature is, see where my laser pointer is, about 111. That is always the same. Alright, so I don't know what to make out of this data, and I will analyze this data, but I will say that this furnace with vaulted ceiling definitely raises the temperature by about 2-3 degrees per hour, but somehow after reaching a point 75 degrees or so, it kind of stabilizes, because I think the walls, interior walls are cold, so uh, you know, it takes time to heat them up. So now let's talk about the economics of running the pellet stove. Uh, I use premium pellets. which are low ash, low moisture, and the bag of pellet is about $4.5 per 40 pound of bag. Uh, the place that I get these pellets is about 30 miles from my place. So uh, taking into account the tolls and the gas charges, it costs me about a buck more because I buy 10 bags in one time. So cost to me is about $5.5 to $6 per bag. So one of the advice that I will give you is before you start buying the pellet stove is make sure that there is somebody who is selling pellets in your locality. And not all stores sell like Home Depot or Lowe's, and even if they do, the shipment charges are very high, unless you can get the whole skid, and one skid is 2 ton, which will probably last you enough for the entire winter without using supplemental. In my case, I use this as a supplemental, but if I use HVAC for the throughout heating, it takes me about $6 of natural gas and about $3 of central blowing, central heating electricity. So about $9 to $10 per day, as opposed to $6 for the pallet. One advantage of HVAC system is that I do have integrated humidifier. So I use the pellet stove during daytime, evening time, and then use HVAC in the nighttime to take advantage of central humidifier, because pellet stove does tend to make the air a little bit more dry. So from economics perspective, it definitely works. Another thing that I would suggest is that before going in for a specific type of pellet stove, make sure that you have evaluated the area of your house, because you need to select appropriate size of the pellet stove. You can get from 20,000 to 60,000 BTUs pellet stove, which can heat up, areas of 1,300 square feet all the way to 2,500 square feet. So a little bit of a analysis is required before you invest into pellet stoves. And also, one of the things that you should do is make sure that you buy the pellet stoves and the kits during summertime, because I bought the whole thing in January, which was peak winter time, and in within 1 month in February the prices have already dropped by 20%. So you can get a pretty good bargain during summertime. And in terms of maintenance, there is hardly any maintenance. You have ash vacuum, and then it takes 2 3 minutes on a daily basis. Of course, once in a month you clean up the exhaust motor, and then once in a season you just go out and clean out the clean teas, and then you are done. So overall, pretty happy. I'm happy, and then I'm sure some of you will be more happy, some of you will be less happy, depending on your inclination on using the wood heat. And one of the things about this heat is that it is CO2 neutral. So this is not where you are actually creating CO2. It is a CO2 neutral entity. So almost like a renewable source of energy, as opposed to natural gas or petroleum, which is a non-renewable source of energy. So if you have any questions, leave a comment and I will try to respond back to you as soon as possible.